All right, welcome back to another video. So, as far as updates go, we have the note summarization's done. I have this little update modal you can see in the app. So, note summarization's now live. I generate summaries on the notes, which I was showing last video. Then the notifications are also live now, and then the workboard filters, which I don't think was something I touched much on in the video. But basically now the board, it used to have a workboard and assignments, but now it's just like a workboard and then just with the toggle between the accordion of your assignments and then the board, and then you have a bunch of filters up here too where you can filter from, because it's showing the exact same information. So I didn't think it'd be like, it just made no sense to have two tabs, one for assignments and workboard, when it's showing assignments on this page and this one. I'm like, you may as well combine them. And then the filters, of course, is always nice to have as well. So next on the to-do list, and the goal for this week is to, it's between a couple things. I want to either do like file summarization, where you can upload files and then summarize files. But I don't know, right now, like the way everything's set up now, when you upload files, like you can upload files here, right? And then it'll get you to upload a file, but it only, like when you click on it, it just opens it in a new tab. So you can't really see the file. So I'm thinking if I want to do file summaries, I might need to have just like a better system of being able to view, like a PDF viewer, which might get a little complicated. But either way, it's pretty much useless. Like, yeah, you can put your file in here for quick access to open it, but other than that, it doesn't really do anything to have the file there. So I think I either want to figure out a better thing to do with that, because ideally, you know, files get large. It would be nice to kind of have that all get sent to a vector store, and I'm gonna have to do that eventually. So like before I spend too much time on like the whole file stuff, I want to kind of get the vector store set up. So I might put time into that, and I think that would be better than to have, because if you just had the file here, right? Say this is the file. This is a PDF, for example. Let's just say you can't open it and view it, so you just have the title. So it's like, what are you really summarizing? You don't even really remember. So like, I think that's kind of, to do the note or the file summarization, that's going to be first priority, is get some sort of PDF viewer. And then, yeah, I think that would work. But then, yeah, like I said, the vector stores, I think, is huge for that, because I almost want to start creating more of like a, like intuitive, like you store all this information here and then the app just knows where everything is. It knows what you're referencing. Like it just kind of has that whole database of knowledge. But to do that, I'm going to need to get into the vector stores. So I don't know how long it's going to take. It would probably take a couple weeks even just to understand how it all works and get it working. But the other thing that I was thinking about as well is just, and this is just me being picky, you know, this isn't really like a must or a thing that needs to be done. But so, and I think I even might have mentioned it last video, but like this homepage and this agenda, I want to like do something with, like combine the two or something. I'm thinking I can almost revamp all this and just make it more based on like productivity and just simple, like make it very simple. Like there doesn't have to be all these different things. Like it just should be like, you get your overview, like very basic overview, get your tasks for the day. And then the other thing with that would be, I want to start doing, just automatically generate the tasks for the day, or even suggest tasks to work on based on your workload. So, I mean, that would be fun to do. So I'm kind of debating, and it would be easier than the vector store. So I'm kind of debating doing that first, but it would be nice to get a good solid start on the vector stores as well, because I'm going to need it down the line for other features. But there was also, like, since I was struggling a lot with like the math equations and even the code block, like it's done, but it doesn't look like fantastic. There's this other editor here, Plate, which I want to look into, but I like, it says it's supposed to be open source. So, and it just looks so much cleaner. Like, and it comes with like AI stuff, like code blocks, like just so much more stuff that's already done. And even math equations, like it handles all of it. And even like this table of contents, like it just seems like it has all in one. But I don't know if you have to pay for it or not. It might only be like $300 for the full license, which isn't bad compared to TipTap, which is like $200 a month. So like when you think of it like that, it's not terrible. Like it would be nice to pay the 300, but 300 is like just enough to where like that's a steep investment. So it would be nice to put kind of all the money I make from this towards that, and then eventually add a better editor. But I think for right now, like the $300 is just pretty steep. So, but I do think like, so I'm using Blocknote right now, and I do think that it's just not, just compared to this, compared to TipTap, like, yeah, I guess it's cheaper, but it's still up there in price, and I just feel like it's a little bit behind. So I don't know. I think Novel is one too. Yeah, Novel is another one that honestly might be pretty decent. Which maybe I'll look into this one. Yeah, math equations. Yeah, this is interesting. I'll take a look at this too, because yeah, it's just, I think I need something that's more complete, that doesn't require so much effort. Like, you can get code blocks and stuff on Blocknote, but it just seems like you have to do so much. It's not just out of the box available, which is kind of what I want, right? Like, I don't want to spend too much time making putting time into all these note edit or note features when other things can just do it in seconds, like just a no-brainer. But yeah, I'll update you guys on what I choose to work on next. I have a feeling it's going to be the homepage revamp with the agenda merge, and then kind of just improve the flow, because yeah, like I said in the past few videos, I really want to make it so like the priority is like learning, studying, like make that the number one priority. Because right now, like, yeah, the AI features are slowly kind of creeping up, but they seem like all disconnected, right? I want to kind of connect all of them to where they're all serve one purpose. And right now it just seems like things are kind of all over the place, but yeah. Anyways, got some work to do. That's why I'm in this room, but yeah, hopefully I'll update you guys when I'm done for the day. Also, something that's been on my mind a bit, and it's kind of funny how my mind's programmed to think like this, but obviously, like I've talked about before, how, the job I'm working right now, the hours are inconsistent, so it's like there's just a lot of uncertainty when it comes to like saving money. And my mind, when I get stressed, I try not to let myself get stressed out about it, right? Because it is what it is. Like, I'm doing my best to, get another position or create more opportunities for myself. But there's only so much you can do that's like kind of in your control. So there's just no reason to stress about it if you're doing what you can, right? So, but when I do stress about it, my mind immediately goes to like, okay, well, I gotta start applying more and sending out more applications. That's where my narrow vision goes. Like, I get stressed out about, okay, either I don't have a job or I don't have a consistent job. Okay, apply more jobs. It's like, isn't that so close to like being insane? Because I have been applying to like endlessly. I've been applying, and yeah, I've had 2 interviews total, which is a lot more than most people, honestly. But that's it. That's completely it. And one of the interviews wasn't even through. One of them was through someone who watches the video, so I wouldn't even count that as a part of like my outreach or application efforts. But I think it's just completely flawed, because literally since the end of December, mid-December to the end of December, I've been applying. I've lost count. I don't even want to put a number on it, because it's crazy how many applications I've sent out. But just the state of the market in general, and the state of the market in Canada is a whole other one, right? Because we already have limited opportunities in general, because it's just Canada, right? It's not like the US when it comes to tech jobs. And it's crazy that my mind immediately goes to, okay, I have to do more of that. When clearly, like my brain perceives that as applying to jobs, getting another job, as the safe route, right? And that's what is crazy, that it's so programmed into my mind that, okay, I'm stressed out about not having money or anything, and then immediately goes right to, okay, I need to get a job. It's like, okay, but it's clearly not working. And it's crazy that that's how most people have been programmed now, that the job is the only option to have that kind of security and safe route, where you can just as easily put that time and energy into building something on your own, right? And I know that comes to like with a whole lot of like, the reason why that isn't the first thing you go to is because like you're kind of waiting for the proof for that to be like a reality, right? And even it seems like it's not going to be, it seems like it's a big risk, right? And of course it is a risk, but there's risks to both sides of it. And it's just funny how everyone's programmed to think the job is the least risky, when for one, the chances of even getting one seems so beyond, like so abysmal. And if you do get one, you can be laid off and then you're in the exact same boat again, right? Where you're struggling to get a job. Or you could spend that time, like, don't get me wrong, apply, still send out your applications, but that shouldn't be the only source of like where you're putting your energy into. So like, yeah, still send out your applications, but you should also be thinking, okay, well, how can I actually take control of this on my own and make money on my own, right? And everyone has the opportunity to do that. And it's so funny how that seems like not even an option because of either you're waiting for the confirmation that it's even possible, or you're just the self-doubt, right? And that's where it all comes down to the mindset of everything. But the fact is, if you could have, and I've said this before, if you do work hard, you see just a glimpse of success within you creating it on your own, that will outlast any job that you can ever get, because okay, even if this doesn't work out or, the money dries up, like, you have the skills to make it happen again, right? And that wouldn't have happened otherwise if you were just like kind of neglecting that. And I think it's a really difficult thing to get like the full utmost confidence to think, okay, yeah, it's going to be possible. But I think that's what you, and myself included, need to kind of start ingraining into my mind, almost reprogramming that, like, okay, it is possible to do this and I'm going to do this. Like, the job situation as a fallback, like, not saying jobs are bad. If you want to get a job, it's a great sense of security as a stepping stone, but it's clearly not working right now. So why would you keep doing the same thing expecting a completely different result, right? And thinking that's the safe route and that's the only route you can go. And that's why, like, I'm trying to really work on reframing my mind to think, okay, I'm capable of making money on my own through on my own terms. And it just requires to put like a little bit of effort into it. And you can see, like, you can make it work. But I just found it so funny that my brain immediately went to, okay, I need a new job then. I need to get another job. It's like, why is that what I'm grasping onto when clearly I've been trying to do that for almost a full year and it's still not really working, right? So it's not really, like, I should be using that energy or putting that energy towards something else that I know will, like, yield way better returns. And that's what I said it in my very first video. I was like, the chances of getting a job nowadays in this tech market is literally equivalent to, or almost equivalent to, being able to create money on your own. And that doesn't have to be just software. I think software is a hard, like, thing to get right. They're all hard to get right, but software is definitely up there. But just even freelancing, you have a much better success rate compared to a job. I don't want to take too much attention away from, like, I think one of the biggest problems that I struggle with, and that's pretty common, is you divert your attention into too many different ways, and then it's almost egotistical to think that you can do all these different avenues at 100% efficiency. And because it's like, how naive are you to think, okay, you can build a startup on your own, you can also freelance on your own, and you can work apart. Like, you're doing too much at that point where it's just unrealistic. You should choose one thing and go all in on it. But it's very hard to overcome that kind of urgency when it depends on your problems you're going through, right? Whether that's like financial situation, living situation, fulfillment, like, depending on what your current problems are, that's going to kind of shape what you're kind of pulled towards. I think that's okay if it's temporary to kind of get you through that kind of initial hurdle. But after that, it's hard to go for what you're really passionate about when you still have some baseline problems you need to solve. So yeah, I don't know. That's just a little bit of a brain dump. Yeah, anyways, I'll, like I said, I'm going to try to do some updates on this homepage here. Get a solid design fleshed out for it that's kind of intuitive, and then yeah, I'll update you on that when I have some progress on it. Okay, after all the brainstorming, this is what I've come up with so far. Like, I don't know, this is something that even when I came up with the initial homepage design, like, it was something that I was kind of struggling with, because, like, you don't want, most of the dashboards nowadays are super busy with, like, stats that honestly, in some cases, aren't even necessary. They're showing too much information. Like, I kind of like the idea of just showing, like, keeping it very minimal, but still, like, showing enough, like, what's important. So that's kind of why I'm drawing a blank. And I think, especially when it's the when you're trying harder to think about it, it's like it makes it harder to really think of good ideas. So I was honestly debating doing something like you have a button in the middle with the date, and it's like start my day, and you click the button, and then it generates everything for the day. What that page would be, I don't know yet, but I also don't know if I like the having every day to having to click the button. But I think the idea, or what I'm kind of drifting towards for the homepage, is to have it be like your own assistant sort of thing. So you can come on this homepage, whatever it looks like, I don't know yet, but you can come on this page, and it's almost like an assistant was working all night for you in the morning. And then you land on the page, and you don't really have to do much thinking because it's just delivered to you, you know? And it's right there. Everything you need to know, boom. Don't even have to think. And I'm thinking about, too, it'd be nice to start with text, but a voice option as well. The voice would probably make more sense for like a mobile app, but say if you have a text, like a little prompt or something, you could use text to do things. So like, remind me to do this, whatever. Create an event for this time, create a new assignment for this. Like, just pretty much use prompts to create stuff in the app instead of clicking. But yeah, something like that. That's the approach I'm trying to go with. The problem a lot of people have, and what I had when I was in school, was you have so much to do that you almost don't even know where to start. And like that just creates friction, and then you just end up doing nothing. So that's why I kind of had the idea of, okay, well, you could come on here, you'd already have your tasks for the day, but even then it might not be good enough. So like it'd be almost nice to have something that like just picks a random task for you to do right now. So it's like have an option of like what to work on right now, and then you click on it and it gives you something to work on, and you just do it. And that thing that it gives you will be the next logical step, but the system does the thinking rather than you weighing all the weightages and like the due dates, and it just kind of like automates it. Again, that's just an idea. I still have to figure out how I want it to look, but yeah, it's been a struggle for sure to make sure that I'm coming up with the proper thing. And even this video might be honestly pretty boring because it's just been a stale week. I tried implementing the new text editor, but I was getting some errors for a bit, like trying to initialize it, so I just moved on from that for now at least. Also, an update on the job assessment. I think last video I made a video showing the assessment that I've made, like 5.5, 6 hours of work. But then, so this was after the initial interview, and then they said, okay, here's an assessment. And then so they said, if you're not selected to move forward, you're not going to hear back, which in my opinion, that's bullshit. I mean, I talked about that in the last video, but basically I think every other response was like within a week. So I said, okay, if I don't know anything about in a week, then it's safe to say I didn't get it or I didn't make it to the next stage. And yeah, so it's been like over a week now and I didn't hear anything back. So I guess that means I didn't get it. And I think this is what sucks, because now I have no feedback to go off of. So I have no idea why I didn't get it. I think there's probably quite a few reasons why. One, there's a ton of people that had submissions that most likely have way more experience than I do. And I think it was because I didn't use TypeScript for it. So, I mean, it is what it is, but who knows? Now it's just a guessing game of how do I improve, right? Well, thanks for the feedback so that I can actually improve for next time, right? But I don't know. It is what it is. I don't want to get too stressed out about it, but I had a feeling, because like even when you get an interview nowadays, it doesn't mean shit. Like you get an interview and honestly, your chances are still so slim. So, I don't know. It is what it is. All right. I had one of those just really deep thinking sessions. And because I was asking myself, like, you know, there's the self-doubt you get, but there's also just the facts. And it's like the retention is pretty low right now. And so it just got me thinking, like, what's the actual problem that it's solving, right? And like I'm usually always hesitant about it, even when I'm trying to explain what it does. Like I usually have to think about it for a second. And I think that's something you shouldn't have to think about. You should just immediately know, right? Because you should be so crystal clear on what it's solving, what problem it's solving, that it's just second nature. You don't even have to think about it. But I was hesitating. So Anyways, I was just writing some stuff down in this journal here, and I was just saying, like, what problem is it actually solving, right? Just trying to get down to the root of that. And the 2 points that I came down to were help students organize studies all in one place, and then help students use their notes kind of more efficiently, right? Like, you have notes, how do you actually make them easier to learn from and prioritize learning and studying, right? But like at the end of the day, then it's like, is that even a big enough problem? If you think about problems students face, procrastination is probably one of the biggest one. So that should be like up there on priorities for solving the problems. But yeah, so I don't know. Right now, I just don't think I'm clear. I don't think I have been clear on what exactly the core problem I'm solving with this, right? And I think that was the issue where I wanted to have everything all in one. And like I said at the beginning, I wanted to make it a good all-in-one thing. But the problem with that is it takes so much energy and effort to make it very good when you're doing all-in-one, and you kind of lose sight of what your core problem you're solving is. So I was doing some more thinking of just like kind of creating a better core problem, because even when I'm thinking of an MVP for this, it requires so many features that are so broad because it's all over the place, and it's like it's not even really solving something really well, like one thing really well at that point. So after some thinking, I pretty much boiled it down to there's 2 things that I should have focused on and that I can pivot to if I want to, but it's either or, and both of them have their trade-offs. But one of them is making like the one platform, one really good dedicated platform for notes for students. So it would be like a whole pretty much smart notes for students. This would mean like the whole premise of the app is note taking. It would have that smart inference based on your notes. Like you're feeding all this knowledge of your notes into this knowledge database that has full context of it, so that when you're using it for assignments, it can, I was talking about this last video, it can reference topics that you've taken notes on, right? Because when you take notes, you forget about what you wrote on, right? It's just to make it more accessible. If you want to search, you can find relevant topics. That also comes into with a lot of AI stuff with summarizing notes, creating flashcards, creating review quizzes, just kind of that thing. That is its kind of main thing, just to actually use like notes effectively. And like encourage deep like learning and deep understanding of things. But then if you just focus solely on like digital typing notes, then you pretty much wipe out everyone who does written notes or who uses their iPad, right? So it's like it kind of eliminates a lot of the market there. And I don't know if it's still like a huge pain point, like that's almost like a nice to have. Okay, I can take notes and then this app will help me learn with them better and use my notes smarter, right? It's like the whole premise of that is to work or study smarter, not harder, right? Which I think is nice, but it's almost like a nice to have, right? It's not like I need this. So backing up onto the whole procrastination thing, I think that is a huge one for students. Procrastination, time management, managing workload, like all this, that's like really big problems that are really big pain points. And so then that's like the second avenue I could go with and pretty much make it a strictly kind of productivity based app for managing your time, right? You pretty much can have your assignments, but the purpose of your assignments in there is just to get an idea of your workload, so that AI can generate you study schedules that adapts based on your schedule, based on like your work habits, based on your workload, prioritizing things. Even if you're coming up to an exam, and I know a big problem I had studying for exams, you never felt ready. It'd be nice to be able to generate a study schedule based on some sort of factors that would make sure that you are prepared for it, and then even give you outlines, like just more time management based things. But the downsides to that would be all of the custom calendar libraries are complete garbage. Like I'm using Full Calendar for Notably right now. It's like you're handcuffed a bit. I don't like the design of it. Like I want to make something custom, but then to do a custom calendar, like that would be pretty intense. So I don't know if that would make that worth it just for that. Then there's the other option of, okay, maybe you can avoid the calendar and just kind of have it like a to-do list thing that's based on your workload, but then even then it's just like a glorified to-do list, and it's not really, I like the time boxing idea. So I don't know, there's a lot to think about for that, but I think that was my number one mistake so far, and I still am not sure what I'm gonna do going forward, but it was like the problem was I just was too broad too early on. What I should have done was pick something just like what I outlined, went all in on this narrow focused goal, and then eventually expand if it was working, right? Because like I said, I'm trying to come up with an MVP, but the MVP in my mind, in order to make it valuable, is just like it's missing so many features, but it's not even really, they're all just nice to have. It's not really solving anything core. So I think, I don't know, I'm gonna have to do some reflecting this weekend, whether that means a pivot or a complete change in project. It's gonna be interesting, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. I know, like, you know, self-doubt can make you start second guessing, and you know, you have all these thoughts, but I think they're valid thoughts. I think the state that everything is right now, it's trying to do too many things in not the best way, and I'm not even really clear on what the core value proposition is. And I think to do that, to get that right, I almost need to strip a lot of the stuff that's not a part of that core value prop and kind of hone in on one thing. And I know I said before where I was like, okay, well, I want to make it note taking and stuff like that. It's still not like clear enough, right? Like, what problem does it actually solve? Like, when you ask yourself what your solution to the problem is, like, so what, right? Like, if you keep asking so what, you'll get to an answer that, or you might not get to an answer that you don't even know why you're doing it. Just to put it into perspective, out of the 280 people who signed up, I would be surprised if 6 or 7 people use it regularly. So that alone, I mean, obviously most of the users were from the YouTube channel who just wanted to help test. So like the numbers are obviously skewed, but regardless, I guarantee you it's less than 10 people that use it consistently. So like there's clearly something wrong. It's clearly not solving. I know it's very early stages. I know that it's completely beginner, like there's missing a lot of things, but that's the problem. Because it's missing so many things, I don't even know what to add, because I don't even know what the core value prop is offering. So I don't even know what to add that actually will move it forward, instead of just adding a bunch of things that don't actually contribute to solving the core of the product, right? I mean, this is all, like, I've learned so much, and if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have learned all this. But so I'm not discouraged or anything, but it's almost, you know, you just start thinking about all this stuff, and then I don't know, I'll have to do more brainstorming over the weekend, but I'll keep you guys updated on that. This video is so boring. This one is probably one of the most slow ones, because there was literally 0 updates. Anyways, gonna end it here. So appreciate you guys watching. Next week hopefully is gonna be more entertaining than this. This was a lot of talking, sorry about that, but yeah, anyways, see you guys next week.